Hello everyone, welcome to Nib Picking. My name is Steven and I'm here to give you some fountain pen reviews, and today we're talking about a pen that I have had for a while. It's a pen that I thought I would never buy. I thought the design just didn't work for me. It wasn't my style, and on top of that, it's a plastic pen. And after having bought so many different fountain pens made of different materials and all the cool stuff you can do, I thought, why would I want a plastic pen? But this one won me over. It's one of those pens you just kind of got to hold it in your hand to be able to get it. And I can see why it has so many fans. It is the Lamy Safari. So this is the charcoal black version with a fine nib. And I've had it for maybe 6-7 months. So I've been using it a bit. I already know what I like about it and what I don't like about it, but I think it's a fantastic pen. Today I'm going to show you the parts and features. I am going to fill it up with ink. We're going to do a drawing sample, and then I'm just going to weigh in with my final thoughts at the end. However, this time we also have an added bonus that I'm going to be checking out this thing that I got in the mail just a little while ago. These are from Etchr Lab. They are postcard watercolor paper, but the paper itself seems to be really great for ink, so I'm going to show you what that's like, and well, let's check it all out. All right, here it is up close and personal, the Lamy Safari, and this is kind of an iconic design. It's an award-winning design. It's something that's been around for quite some time. I know this is a bit of a contentious design. There's some people that absolutely hate it. To be honest, I kind of felt like I was one of those people until I held it in my hand, and then I realized that I actually really enjoy the design of this pen. So let's go over some of the details here. First of all, we have the cap that has this really big kind of funky clip, but it's very functional. It's very useful. It's a kind of a tight clip it goes up against, but there's plenty of give for it to go in there. The finial on the top of this cap has an X shape, and Lamy uses these to identify their fountain pens, because they also have rollerball and ballpoint pens, and I believe they have a technical pencil as well that has a similar shape that comes in a Safari form, and they'll use different symbols for the top of those pens, or pencils as it would be. So that's what that means if you see that. This is I believe it's the charcoal black edition. It happened to be the cheapest, but it was also the one that I was most interested in, so I'm glad that I have it. And here's the nib. This is a fine, as you can see. It goes everything from fine to we have everything here from fine, extra fine, all the way to, I believe, a 1.5 millimeter italic or stub nib that you can get, and they all fit on the same pen, so you can buy the nibs separately, which is pretty cool. It unscrews. There's a little bit of a spacer ring here that appears to be made of just regular plastic. And this is the body of the pen, has the word Lamy stamped in plastic on the side here. There's a little ink window, so when this is full, you can see the ink. You can see how much is left inside. And this is the converter that does not come with the pen. It's the official Lamy converter. If you're going to get a converter for this pen, you actually have to have the Lamy converter, because Lamy's ink cartridges are proprietary, meaning that they only work in Lamy pens. So be aware of that. But this is actually pretty reasonably priced converter. It's about $5 or so. It's a piston style converter. It's got a little nub right here that shows you where it goes in. It clicks into place, very satisfying click. And the converter feels very well made to me. It is plastic, but it works. It's tight against it, and I'm not sure if the piece comes apart or not. It doesn't appear to. Some of the really nice converters that I've seen actually come apart, so you can lubricate the individual part here. I don't see that this one does that, but you know, it's still a very nice converter and not too expensive. And then yeah, the nib, like I said, you could pull the nib off, and then you have the feed here. I understand that you can pull this out with great effort, but it makes me nervous every time I try to do that, so I don't. I just leave that how it is. But these are the parts of the pen, and now it's time, I think, to get some ink inside. I've got some Lamy Sapphire Blue to fill my Lamy Safari with today. I think it's an appropriate choice, as currently it's the only blue ink that I have, but the Lamy pens always come with a blue cartridge, no matter what color you have, which is funny. In the case of my pen, which is sort of a brownish gray, it doesn't really matter, but you know, you order a bright yellow pen, you end up with a blue cartridge. You order a red pen, you end up with a blue cartridge, even though Lamy does sell inks in other colors. Seems like a marketing thing that they could do, but it's also probably way more convenient to do it that way. So I am ready to fill the pen. It is a regular piston filling converter. When I twist the knob, it goes down, expelling all the air out, and then when I draw it up after submerging it in the ink, we are going to see it fill up. All right, it's a very, it's an interesting ink. It's almost a purple. It's not really a pure blue, but let's see if we can draw some ink up into it. It's interesting, these bottles are so small, the Diamine 7 point, I forget how many ounces this is, that the pen just barely fits in the neck. If I had a really thick pen, it might not even go, but there we go. All right, nice thing about this pen is it blots off nice and easy, and the ink doesn't really run. It's really easy to clean off. So there it is. For today's drawing, I'm going to be checking out these watercolor postcards that I got from Etchr Labs. Pretty cool little box that they come in. It's got a nice little texture to it. It's pretty solid. Feels like it's going to hold everything together pretty well. I actually think I might use this box for storage after I'm done with these, but that's going to take me a long time, because when I open up this box, there are 100 of these little postcards, and if you want to check out what they look like, they're quite thin. They're 200 GSM, so that's thinner than most watercolor paper that I use, but they're hot press, which means that the texture is really smooth, and that means that they're really good for pens, so I could use them for pen and ink. But it's also 100% cotton, which means that it'll be great for watercolor. Even though I haven't used it for watercolor yet, I'm excited to try it. And on the back, we got the typical postcard stuff, space for a stamp, for a little note. And it says Etchr Labs. We got a cute little llama for their logo. And it says 220G hot press paper, 100% cotton, and vegan friendly. Now, for those of you who don't know why a paper would have to say that it's vegan friendly, well, a lot of watercolor papers use gelatin in their process of making their paper, making it so that it absorbs the color in just the right way. And so these people have obviously found a different alternative because gelatin is an animal byproduct. So personally, I'm not vegan, but I do have a lot of vegan friends, so it's nice to know that I could send this postcard to one of them without worrying about it at all. So that's great. I'm gonna tape this down with some washi tape, and we're gonna get going. So I'm using a different washi tape that I got from my wife. It's really nice because it's not super sticky, and it kept me from tearing up the paper rather than using something like masking tape. So I'm gonna use that again in the future. So this drawing turned out really well. I just want to talk a little bit about the paper. It really took ink marks really well. You're going to see me start to use my pen in a little bit here. I find that even though on regular paper, the Lamy in a fine feels a little wide for my taste. On this paper, I don't know what they use for the sizing instead of as a replacement for gelatin, but I didn't notice the difference in this pen and ink version of the drawing. So I'm curious to see how these Etchr Labs postcards work with watercolor, because if they work any bit as good, I mean, I can highly recommend them. I'm really happy with how this drawing came out. It looks like I'm going super fast and methodical, but I was definitely double thinking and checking back to see how my rocks and my cliff look. It's not actually something that I'm very confident in my ability to do, draw a rocky cliff, so I'm really happy with how that came out. And you should know that I went a lot more slowly than it shows in this video. If you're trying to replicate kind of my process, I go draw a little bit, and then I draw a little bit more, and then I stop and I look at it and I check, and then I draw a little bit more, and then I stop and I look at it and I check and I draw a little bit more. I often use reference for my drawings. This one was a little bit off the cuff, and I did look at pictures of those things like rocky cliffs and of some pine trees to get the effect that I was looking for, but this is a little bit of a doodle. Had a lot of fun with it. This Lamy Safari is really comfortable to hold in the hand. The way that it has a molded grip to keep your fingers using it right is nice, but you can also hold it a little further back and get some nice effects. One thing that's different from how I would normally do my pen and ink drawings is I feel like the ink dries a lot more slowly on this watercolor paper than it had on other things that I've used, so that's something to keep in mind. I had to be very careful not to let my left-handedness give me some massive smudges on my paper, especially when I'm doing the texture of the night sky, which you'll see me start in a couple of minutes. So yeah, there's a lot of things to look out for when you're using paper like this, but it was all around a really great experience using it. I'll definitely use it again. I appreciate the combination of all the elements. I appreciate how the pen worked, how the paper worked with the pen. The ink turned out really nice, just a solid blue. A couple of times I end up drawing with the drawing out of frame. I think you're gonna see it in a little bit. So I'm sorry about that for all the details that you missed. But yeah, I highly recommend the paper. I highly recommend the pen. They were both really fun. I had no issues with them whatsoever while I was using them to create these drawings. So it was really cool. One more last final note, I couldn't take away the pure joy of showing you what it's like to remove the tape at the end and really see that nice little edge on the border, so I got the video of that for you. Just a little extra something for your enjoyment. Oh yeah, that's real satisfying. Super cool. Yep, I'm really happy with all the equipment I used for this drawing, so totally recommend it if you are in the market for a new pen or some new paper. These are great products to check out. Right, now we've seen what this Lamy Safari can do. It's pretty great. I definitely recommend it. I think if this is a pen that you invest in, you would really enjoy it for artwork as well as for writing. The paper was also a winner here. These Etchr Labs watercolor postcards, I was able to get quite a fantastic piece, in my opinion. The best that I could manage with this pen, and also on this paper I find that the lines that I was able to create were there was a lot of variety that I could get with just the nib as it is. Of course, the Lamy Safari comes in a large number of nibs, so if you want thinner lines, you could go with an extra fine. If you want bolder lines, you could go with a medium or a broad, and they have a wide range of things. You can actually replace the nib very easily on these pens, which are also compatible with the Lamy All-Star, so you could mix and match with that. As a matter of fact, I really like how this postcard turned out so much that I've decided I'm going to mail it to one of my subscribers. So all you got to do is be a subscriber to my channel, make a comment below, make me laugh, make me cry, say something profound, write a poem, whatever you want to say. I'm going to choose my favorite comment at the end of 3 days. I will mail this to somebody who is a subscriber to my channel. And if nobody wants this and nobody ends up commenting, then I will find someone in my life that I need to connect with, and I will mail it off to them. Either way, this was a fun day to spend my afternoon, and thank you for checking it out. Like and subscribe for more content from me and for a chance to win this postcard. See ya.